Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. Meditation gathers energy when we meditate together. This week we have Garry Hasler, who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we'll open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Garry.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for inviting me to lead this meditation, first of all. And I'm very happy that we have a moment to spend together with this amazing message of awakening and enlightenment. It's the most extraordinary thing, personally, that I've ever found. So I'd like to read a bit from the text of the course, and then we can use one of the lessons as the springboard for the meditation. So, nothing beyond yourself can make you fearful or loving, because nothing is beyond you. Time and eternity are both in your mind, and will conflict until you perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. You cannot do this as long as you believe that anything happening to you is caused by factors outside yourself. You must learn that time is solely at your disposal, and that nothing in the world can take this responsibility from you. You can violate God's laws in your imagination, but you cannot escape from them. They were established for your protection and are as inviolate as your safety. God created nothing beside you, and nothing beside you exists. For you are part of him. What except him can exist? Nothing beyond him can happen, because nothing except him is real. Your creations add to him as you do, but nothing is added that is different, because everything has always been. What can upset you except the ephemeral? And how can the ephemeral be real if you are God's only creation and he created you eternal? Your holy mind establishes everything that happens to you. Every response you make to everything you perceive is up to you, because your mind determines your perception of it. So that's amazing. It's a complete reversal of the laws that seem to prevail here in the world, in which victimhood is the prevailing condition. It is part of the human condition, being a victim of forces outside of oneself. So I give everything else and everyone the ability to make me feel a certain way, whether it's upset or angry, frustrated, whatever it is, whatever form the fear takes. I'm pointing the finger out there saying, you did this, you made me feel like this. And it's not true. Everything that happens to you is a choice, and the way you perceive it is a choice. You don't have to be frustrated or afraid or angry about anything unless you choose to be, unless you choose to be something that you're not, a victim of the world, a body. And that's not what you are. You are the Son of God. So, as he says, then time is a means to regain the awareness of that fact of who you are. God's eternal Son, unaffected by anything ephemeral, anything in time. So with that in mind, then, I'd just like to do the lesson now, and then we can do the meditation. This is Love Holds No Grievances. You who were created by love like itself can hold no grievances and know yourself. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see yourself as a body. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule your mind and to condemn the body to death. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It seems to split you off from your source and make you unlike him. It makes you believe that he is like what you think you have become, for no one can conceive of his creator as unlike himself. Shut off from yourself, which remains aware of its likeness to its creator, yourself, your true self, seems to sleep, while the part of your mind that weaves illusions in its sleep appears to be awake. Can all this arise from holding grievances? Oh yes, for he who holds grievances denies he was created by love, and his creator has become fearful to him in his dream of hate. Who can dream of hatred and not fear God? It is assured that those who hold grievances will redefine God in their own image, as it is certain that God created them like himself and defined them as part of him. It is assured that those who hold grievances will suffer guilt, as it is certain that those who forgive will find peace. It is assured that those who hold grievances will forget who they are, as it is certain that those who forgive will remember. Would you not be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed all this were so? Perhaps you do not think you can let your grievances go. That, however, is simply a matter of motivation. Today, now, we will try to find out how you would feel without them. If you succeed, even by ever so little, there will never be a problem in motivation ever again. So we're going to start the meditation practice now then. So I invite you to close your eyes. Let yourself relax completely. Perhaps take a few deep breaths. And as you exhale, let any tension in the body just fall away. Just relax completely. And keeping your eyes closed throughout, begin by searching your mind for those against whom you hold what you regard as major grievances. Some of these will be quite easy to find. And now, think of some of the seemingly minor grievances you hold against those you like and even think you love. Doesn't matter how slight the grievance seems to be or what happened. Someone could have said something you didn't like or looked at you the wrong way. it will quickly become apparent that there is no one against whom you do not cherish grievances of some sort. This has left you alone in all the universe in your perception of yourself. So determine now to see all these people as friends, all of them, no exceptions. Say to them all, thinking of each one in turn as you do so, I would see you as my friend, so that I may remember that you are part of me and come to know myself. You might want to bring the image of the person to mind as you say these words. I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you are part of me and come to know myself. And now we will enter the quiet meditative part of the practice, in which we will try to think of ourselves as completely at peace with everyone and everything, safe in a world that protects us and loves us, and that we love in return. Try to feel safety surrounding you, hovering over you and holding you up. Try to believe, however briefly, that nothing can harm you in any way. might like to say to yourself, love holds no grievances. When I let all my grievances go, I will know I am perfectly safe. love holds no grievances. I would wake to myself by laying all my grievances aside and awakening in him. With our eyes still closed, let's join together in a prayer. Forgiveness is the only gift we give. Forgiveness is the only gift we give, because it is the only gift we want. And everything we give ourselves. This is salvation's simple formula. And we who would be saved would make it ours to be the way we live within a world that needs salvation and that will be saved as we accept atonement for ourselves. Father, how certain are your ways? How sure their final outcome? And how faithfully is every step in our salvation set already and accomplished by your grace? We thank you, Father, for your eternal gifts. And thank you for our true identity. Amen.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 15 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off with mute. And if you'd like to ask Garry a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Roman, take yourself off mute.
Excuse me. I would just like to say thank you very much, Garry, and also to God and love and everyone who is here. Because for me, every time I join a meeting like this, it's more than coincidence that it happens to be exactly where I am. And everything that you have said and done this morning for me is as close to perfection as I could ever expect. And thank you very much indeed from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Teresa, would you like to share?
Garry, thank you. That was so lovely, so peaceful. And I held on to one part. I wrote it down. You say the name of the person, and I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you are part of me and come to know myself. Well, I stuck with that, and I went through the whole time bringing up different people, people that I care about, people that are alive, people that are not alive, that have passed. And and it was wonderful. And in all of my little grievances, my little dark corners, I had all those things within me. It says, and you will come to know yourself, whether it was a fear of lack or control or anything really, anything that I was judging another, I could see it in myself as well. And so that was, and it was very freeing. It was very light. And so thank you so much. That was lovely.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Yeah. Yeah, I'm reminded of the line where he says, you never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own, you know, seen projected out. You know, that's the whole mechanism, isn't it? I project what I don't like in myself onto others, and then I hate them for it rather than take responsibility for it and hand it over. So yeah, thank you. I can relate to that.
Would like to share? Vivian, take yourself off mute.
Hello, Gary. Thank you very much for that. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Vivian.
Yes. It was really interesting because in the beginning, of course, I went through relationships and things like that, forgiveness things that I've done in the past. And then quite unexpectedly, a person came up in my mind 2 days ago, and that was a very persistent cold caller who sounded very authentic, and it was about checking out my house and cavity wall insulation and one thing and another. I was suspicious, and I didn't do any more about it, although he says he's going to phone again. And meanwhile, I phoned everybody contacted everybody in my close to say, have you had these calls? And indeed, people in my area, he said my area has a high energy use, what have you. And then I realized, I mean, that was brilliant, because I had to see this person as my friend. And I wasn't actually feeling very friendly towards him. But then I was able to go on and think, well, actually, he is my friend, because he's pointing out and showing me the fear areas of my mind. And he is the same as me. And you know, thank you to him for allowing me a further step in my forgiveness process. So that was actually very useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to share? Jim, take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you, Gary. That was absolutely wonderful, and also very relevant for me. A few people came to mind, but one main one was the head of a business who I hadn't met, but who I'm in some dispute with at the moment. And I don't know what he looks like. And of course, when you said bring to mind his appearance or see him or something, initially I had difficulty because, well, I just don't know what he looks like, so I can't bring him to mind. But that was nonsense, of course. What I saw was that any image I had in mind wouldn't be a correct one anyway. Even if I knew what his face looked like, the image in my mind would not be accurate. So it doesn't matter, you know. I've obviously got some rough idea of what he might look like, because the mind tends to do that. We hear somebody on the phone and we imagine what they look like. It just, the mind does it automatically. So I was able to work with this image and see the love that was present there through your, the words you're giving us. And it was really wonderful. But I think it's the first, I just found it very instructive that any image I have in mind is not the real person anyway. Because normally if I bring somebody to mind that who I have some kind of grievance against, whether it's major or minor, I see their face, but of course it's just not them. So that was very good, and I found the whole meditation very peaceful, very stilling, and very helpful in terms of being with people who I have some difficulty with. So thanks again.
Thank you, James. Yeah, my brother is not an image. So yeah, I have a sense of who he is, and I can forgive that. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Gary. Thank you for that beautiful reading. It's such a wonderful one to go through again. I I've done that lesson many times, and I noticed that over the years that my list of people are going down. And they're getting weaker. You know, the grievance isn't really there. It's something there, but it's not as strong as it was. And so I think for me, it's probably a process. And I had one guy who I had grievances with a few years ago, and I did that practice with him, and now he's my friend. I mean, not just in my mind friend. We meet for lunch, we go for walks, and he's a lovely guy. And I'm just so happy that I released him from the ego's hell. That's me. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Who would like to share? Evelyn.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Gary. That was absolutely wonderful and beautiful piece. Just came flooding in with it, and yesterday, but also came to mind was for me quite humorous. A scenario of that yesterday I went to Specsavers, and I was there for a good hour doing all the tests and things, and of course, and I'm short-sighted, and so I got the message. I felt the divine was showing me the message in a humorous way. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. There's a problem. The problem is your lens. You need to clean your lens. And so for me, that was that's quite powerful. It's not about what is out there. What I'm seeing out there is only what I'm seeing from my ego, and what I'm going to make of it, a story and whatever else, and do all that. But really, I need to just clean the lens and see through the lens of love and the divine that is just all who we are and nothing else. So just clean my lens. So thank you. It's very, very beautiful, very powerful. Just lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thanks.
John, would you like to share?
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Yeah, and yeah, I always love listening to your voice, and also what you read is very peaceful. And it's interesting because I reflected on the word grievances, and I come to the word grieve. And what I've come to realize is that whenever I've had a grievance, at the root of it is something I haven't allowed myself to grieve, a loss. And, you know, I grew up, like probably many people, thinking the only losses I had were people that died or left me. But then it really hit me. I was listening to a book, an audio book on my way back home yesterday, and it was all about loss and how there is a tendency to, you know, not, especially in our culture, you know, in UK, you know, we're historically we're not the most emotionally literate people, the way a lot of us were brought up. Whereas you go to the other countries, cry, they shout, everything, they're all free. And I realized what an important part it is to actually acknowledge loss. And then for me, then real forgiveness comes about. And when I get triggered now, I do my best to remember that I don't have to, it's not the behavior or the action that needs to, it's the believing that that's the person. So it's about connecting with the real person, you know, which is, you know, and I think of it when anybody it's the wounded part of them that they're projecting out. So I have to remember that, and yeah, and it's the essence of the person to connect with. But at the same time, you know, acknowledging that at the level of form, certain things are not okay. And at the end of the day, the peace and calmness comes when coming to that forgiveness place. And one of my favorite lines in the course is, I don't know exactly, but something like, the holiest spot on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. And that really touched my heart, that, because I've been very fortunate to realize, to actually experience certain of those things like Dan shared, you know, but within my own family, and it's very, very, very powerful. So yeah, thank you very much for your calmness as well. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thanks. Yeah, I relate to what you say. You know, thinking of grievance as grief at having lost something. Ultimately, we believe that we have lost God's love, and that someone has stolen it from us. He stole it from me. He stole peace from me, or she took my peace away. And I'm grieving. I'm in a grievance because of that. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Jill, would you like to share?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Garry, where did you read? Thank you very much for what you've read today. Where did you read from before you read lesson 68?
That was the introduction to chapter 10 in the text.
Introduction to chapter 10.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one more share. Anybody? Don't all put your hands up at once. Okay, come to the end of our time together. It's been so nice to share this time with you. And thank you, Garry, that was wonderful. So much came through, and looking forward to seeing you all next week. Lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garry. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Garry. Everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garry.
Harry, thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There.